As a communicator, you want to make sure that your message gets out in the midst of a very busy world with all the noise that's out there, and they can stand out and hear you. Well, there's a way to do it. I've come up with something I want to share with you that you are going to love. You know that AI is changing our world. It's changing it in a major way. Coders, the people who write that stuff, are really brilliant, and they help us, are guiding us into it. And something came up just earlier this year where they had an idea of using the idea of vibe coding. Andrej Karpathy talked about that, came up with that idea. We're going to build on top of that on how you, as a YouTuber, a podcaster, a professional speaker, a consultant, a coach, a blogger, someone who's using writing, all of that, all of those ways we communicate, and how you can use this same thing. Hi, I'm Terry Brock. We're going to be talking about that today as you look at the capabilities that are out there and what's there as we look at vibe communicating. They've talked about vibe coding. We're going to do it in vibe community, and you are going to love this. We've been doing our research on it, and I am excited about that. We're getting lots of good feedback on it. It's the art of emotional resonance. Yes, using AI, tying into emotions. You're going to love this. I mean, this is really interesting. I'm going to be presenting this to you and talking about the way that you can use it. I'm with Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, Gina Carr, and we're going to be taking a new approach to communication that is inspired by Andrej Karpathy's vibe coding. You can do some research on that wonderful guy, what he did and his idea on that, because it is nothing short of amazing what's capable. But before we get into that, I got a gift for you. I want to give you as we get started here. At Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, Gina Carr, my partner, and I want to help you build your entrepreneurial business. So we've put together a tool that helps you. You go over to AITools4biz.com. And by the way, it's the number 4. So AITools4biz.com. You're going to get a training course to help you and your people to work through that. People that are on your staff, your VAs, people you're working with, so they can come up to speed on some specific programs with specific videos, training courses, how to use it. Our gift to you, no charge whatsoever for that. We just want to get to know you. And yeah, we've got ways that you can get involved with us in our coaching programs, our consulting and all that. And if it's a good fit, hey, we'd love to have you on board. But you don't owe us anything for this. We've just got something we want to give you that's going to help you in a big way to move ahead in your future. So that's AITools4biz.com. Let's get into the program here. Our agenda today is going to be, we're going to look at some of the origins and the definition of what these are, what it means, and how you can use it. We're also going to help you with the understanding the concept of vibe communicating and its roots that are firmly implanted in vibe coding, how that works. Then we'll take a look at the core principles of it, the fundamental elements that make vibe communicating effective. This translates to not just connecting with people, but building your business. Yeah, and you start by connecting with people. When you can connect with others and you meet them where they are, then you're going to be able to achieve the goals that you want. But that is the key. You've got to start by approaching them in a way that communicates with them. And I love the way they do it in that vibe coding. When you're writing code, we can do the same thing adapted to us who are communicators. So it's something that you're going to be able to use in a big way in many different aspects. Then we'll look at the benefits and applications for you, how vibe communicating transforms a connection and content creations, all of this. And then, of course, for implementation, that's most important. Some practical ways to incorporate vibe communicating into your work, the actual work that you're doing. And again, as I mentioned, the origins of this are from Andrej Karpathy. Andrej, if you're watching this, you have to excuse me on that. But he is a guy that is genius, worked with OpenAI, other places in the industry, and has done very well. He came up with the phrase in February 2025, just a few months ago as we're recording this, popularized vibe coding. You probably heard that if you're paying attention to what's going on with AI. It describes an AI-first style of software creation where developers, well, they have some interesting things happening. What's happening with the developers as they do it is they stop micromanaging every line of code. And I'm going to take what he said, the brilliance of it, and translate that to us as communicators, how we can borrow from what they're doing and help ourselves better. To help you steer large language models in fast conversational loops, a whole different way of doing it. And you can own the intent, the tests, and the guardrails so that you put up those things that are so important to make sure it's working. And let AI supply most of the syntax. In other words, one of the things I love what Andrej has said is that you do your thing. You let the emotion come in there. Be the human being that you can be. And then let AI do the grunt work. Let AI do all the stuff of research and then coding and positioning it, lining it up. This is the best way to do it. And you and I get to benefit from that in some major significant ways because of what Andrej did. So Andrej, if you ever catch us in the future, or anyone knows him, tell him we really appreciate what he has done. So let's take a look first at vibe coding. It's a cultural shift. See, the way this works, the Wall Street Journal talked about this. Teams report speed gains of 40% or more in prototyping because they stay inside a creative flow. That's important, creative flow, and let the model handle the boilerplate. Boy, that is a ticket for success for you and me as content creators. Let the model handle all the boilerplate stuff, the rudimentary things you got to do, and you and I make it us. I often talk about that way. You need to use AI. You need to you-ize it. Y-O-U. You-ize it. In other words, if your name is Kathy, you want to Kathy-ize it. If your name is Jack, you want to Jack-ize it. You want to make sure it's there. I'm Terry, so I like to Terry-ize it. Put it in there and do that. But you want to make it your own personality with what you have, who you are, and what you're going to do. And I think this quote here in the Wall Street Journal really summed that up very well. But also, when we look at beyond the technical, here's what vibe coding is that we can build on top of that for what we're doing. There's an intuitive feel. That's important. The feel of it, so that you're trusting instincts over a rigid structure. That applies when you're presenting in person, or if you're doing your podcast, or hey, like I'm doing my recorded video right now that I'll send over to YouTube. I know many of you have your YouTube channels. You can relate to what I'm going through right now as I'm doing this. And then here's a key term, rapid iteration. That you try it, quick cycles of creation and refinement. You try something, doesn't work, you try it again, fix it. Ooh, we learned from that one. It doesn't do this, but it didn't do that. What if we did this? Keep trying that. That's important. And then cross-discipline collaboration, so that you're able to break down the silos between the various roles and get the answers that are needed. And then have a bias towards shipping. I love that. That's important. Creating something that the users can feel quickly. It reminds me of Doug Burgum, who I worked with as a client of mine with Great Plains Software when he had that company up in North Dakota. And he was really firm on helping people, helping them to achieve what they could do, become the best they were. His employees, by the way, when they would talk about him behind his back, always positive. To me, everything was there. And he talked about getting it out, shipping it, getting it going. And by the way, Doug Burgum is now former governor of North Dakota, and now the current, as we're recording this, current Secretary of the Interior right now. So he's doing a lot. Doug, if you ever catch this, appreciate you and everything you've done before. So I think it's what we've got to lean toward, like Doug did, a bias towards shipping, getting the thing done, making sure that it's working right. And then go from solitary to social. Vibe coding means development of a solitary act to an energetic jam session instead of writing loops. So you're just doing write loops over and over. You're working with others. You're learning. And that's how communication really functions best. Here's something that Wikipedia told us. I looked this up on Wikipedia. It said vibe coding describes a fast, improvisational, collaborative approach to creating software where the developer and a large language model, that's the LLM, tuned for coding are acting like a pair of programmers in a conversational loop. So you're working together, working with others, and you're kind of working with the AI to make sure you get it right. And it goes on, Wikipedia goes on to say that unlike traditional AI-assisted coding or prompt engineering, vibe coding emphasizes staying in a creative flow. That's important for us as creators. Stay in that creative flow. The human developer avoids micromanaging the code. We as communicators avoid micromanaging what's going on. Flow with it. Understand what's going on with your video. When you're in front of an audience, when you're on the podcast with a guest, you go with the flow. You accept AI suggested completions literally and focuses more on iterative experimentation than code correctness or structure. It's a different way of doing things. It's something we can learn. And so I had an idea. There I am, my own picture there and there. The light bulb moment hit me. Well, if developers can code by vibe, why can't speakers, writers, podcasters, and coaches communicate by vibe as well? And that's what this is all about. Communicating to help others. Vibe communicating means you go with the flow. You find out what are people looking for? What is it that they want? And then you tie into the emotions and the feeling. That's key. And you see the irony of this? We're taking the best of emotions and then taking the best of AI and putting them together. It's not either or. It's both and. You're grabbing from both and helping people to become the best they can be as a communicator, and then helping your audiences become the best they can be by giving them the information they need, being attuned to the situation, understanding what's needed at the moment as you planned. And by the way, those of you who presented for a while like me, I've been a professional speaker now for over 42 years. And when things change, and they certainly do, you have to adapt and adjust. Like the United States Marines say, you improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's the key. And so that's what we're doing here with this new concept, new to me, new to many others, as I'm sharing this with you for the very first time here. We're going to be introducing vibe communicating. And I'm defining it this way, as vibe communicating is a term that I developed from Andrej Karpathy. I say communicators need to feel, important word, feel the desires of their audience, embrace, another important term, AI, another tech, and connect with the audience solving their problems and needs. That's the real key. And to define it, I'm saying that it's an intentional practice of creating and delivering any message, spoken, written, visual. You might be creating videos, you might be creating pictures. So it's emotional energy that feels right. Notice that's italicized. Feels right to the audience, blending AI efficiency with human intuition to spark genuine connection and actions. That's the key there. And so you see, the problem is that clarity by itself is really not enough. If we have that in a noisy world where there's so much competition, clarity alone isn't going to be enough. People remember how a message makes them feel. That is critical. You want to make sure that you're there. I think it was Myra Collins who said, people might not remember what you say or what you said about this or that, but they will remember how you made them feel. That's important. The way that you make them feel. And this is where vibe communicating comes in. We're borrowing from the geniuses like Andrej and others who have talked about vibe coding. And now we're bringing it into vibe communicating, where we're able to do all of this and a lot more. Well, let's take a look at here. Who is it that's benefiting from this, from the vibe communicating when we do it? First of all, speakers. If you're offering a keynote, which I've done plenty of in workshops, done many of those, still continuing to do it, and presentations that resonate emotionally. Also content creators, YouTubers, podcasters, bloggers, seeking authentic connection. You want to be there for your audience. And consultants. You're doing this as well. You're professionals who need to build trust and convey your expertise to give them advice on what to do. And then coaches, you're the guides who inspire action through emotional resonance. A coach, a real good coach, is one that's there to help people to achieve the best they can be. And it takes a balance here. You'll still use AI to draft the content because it does that very well. Polish your language, wordsmith it, change it here, restructure it there after a while, and you'll let it repurpose across the platforms. AI is doing that really well, and you're doing the big bulk of it. However, you still get to stay in that with the control of the vibe, with the tone and the rhythm. That's what you want. You'll get ideas initially from AI, and then you tweak it and tone it from there. Stories and examples will be what you've seen. That article that you read the other day, you can talk about that. That experience you had with a client, AI probably doesn't know about that. You can put that in there and help a lot of people. And those micro moments that create trust, that's critical. They are important all the way through. because what you're doing is you're tapping into emotional resonance. Most important. See, with all the AI out there, with all the AI that we have, and we love it to pieces, what matters most is the emotional connection. People look at what's there and they think about it logically, but they really buy because they feel good. Zig Ziglar told us that long ago. People will look at something, they hear the logic, they follow along with that, but they really buy on emotions. It's what emotionally feels right to them is where they go most of the time. So what you want to do is to be able to stay in touch with them, helping them out in those areas as well. So vibe communicating approach is an approach that marries the entrepreneurial message with an energy first, AI augmented ethos. It's not either or. It's both and. You're doing both of these. And it goes beyond traditional communication. See, in traditional communication versus vibe communicating, in traditional, they were obsessing over perfect grammar. You must say it properly, and this is important to communicate. Well, that is important. But sometimes, doggone it, you got to use something that ain't quite right. And I'm using that word ain't very carefully there. You want something that will stand out, because with vibe communicating, you're engineering emotional resonance more than anything. And sometimes a word that I know is not appropriate, ain't, is appropriate in some cases. In many others, it is not appropriate. That's where you have to have your emotional intelligence tuned in to what's appropriate where you are. Chasing viral tricks versus focusing on authentic connection. See, with traditional, we often say, okay, we're going to just try, ooh, a hot thing is happening. This is what they're looking for now. The virus or the viral programs say this. Google is doing that. People run over and try to do it. Focus on creating authentic attention. That's the key. On traditional approach, sometimes you're prioritizing mechanics over meaning. But in vibe communicating, you're letting AI handle the mechanical polish. You're focusing on the emotion. In the traditional approach, one size fits all messaging. And over here, you adapt the energy to each platform. And I would say not only each platform, but each circumstance. It's different at different times. And you've got to be attuned to that. So let's take a look at the touch points of vibe communicating for you. Keynotes make your presentations that move the audience emotionally. That's the key. They're going, wow, I want this. Even with technical information, you still want to use that emotion. With newsletters, have written content that feels personal and relevant. If it's relevant to them, they'll like it. And then video content, hey, like with YouTube, shorts and reels, pack a lot of emotional impact. They already do. Use that and make it even more. And with social engagement, you want to have comments and posts that build genuine connection. Make sure that you're stressing people to connect with you online when they're watching something, to leave a comment. And matter of fact, that would be really helpful here. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Very important. So let's take a look at the results. What you can get from this. You're going to get faster content creation because you're in the moment. You're tapping into what people want. You're getting a deeper audience connection. Most important. And here's something for you and me. You're lowering the creator burnout. This is a big thing. People will put out a lot of content, don't get the results they want, and so they're feeling burned out. Yeah, this is a real downer. So what you want to do is be able to use vibe communicating, and that will lower that. A brand that people will feel is one of the results you're going to get from using vibe communicating. And you'll get instant engagement. Audiences lean in because your opening lines feel relevant to them. Notice I'm using that word again, feel. Interesting that we're talking here about AI, and yet we're stressing the importance of feelings. That's the key. We use the AI for the rote copying and the rote researching and formatting and spell checking and all that, but we magnify the human feeling, who we are and how we do this. That's the key to getting ahead. And we know that as we do that, we're going to be able to do a lot more all the time. And another benefit is you're going to have a deeper trust. With consistent, authentic vibe, that vibe communication, it's going to build loyalty faster than a slick production alone. People sit back, and we've seen a lot of slick productions. This is what many people think is going to be the way to get ahead. Well, there's more to it than that. And I think we need to go into, as YouTube calls it, real mode. So people are saying, yeah, I can hear you. You're right there with me, real. Not just reading a script from the photograph there or your role. Make sure that it's real, that it's you coming through in a genuine, authentic way. That's most important. Another one is content velocity. AI handles the mechanics, and you, my dear friend, spend your energy on resonance so you ship more without sounding robotic. You're able to do more, able to produce more, and that's important. And again, it's that burnout shield. Creating from a place of genuine energy is fun, not draining. It'll keep you and me alive by doing something that we like and we enjoy. That keeps it going strong for us. So what you want to do is you want to marry the AI speed, there's a good word, marry AI speed with human energy so you can show up everywhere without sounding automated. That's the key. When you nail that, my friend, you're going to be doing really well. So here's a key takeaway. Deep differentiation. When competitors are chasing hacks, they're out there going, oh, the latest thing is this, or oh, do this, here's the hot thing. Vibe communicating makes your brand feel unmistakably you. And yes, feel is italicized. You want to accent the feeling that people are going to get. Pay attention to that and let the AI handle all the other stuff that it can do. And a key takeaway here, it's anti-burnout. By focusing on resonance, creation feels like play. Hey, that's a good thing. Not grind, giving you longevity in the game. So it's not a grind that you're going through, oh, I got to do it. But it's rather, hey, I get a chance to do another video. I look forward to it because it's fun. And generally, I really do. I like doing that. I put this one together today, just behind the scenes, putting it together, doing the research. I tried on one topic and came up with one even better called my vibe communicating. And that's what we're doing here. I really want to hear from you. Please leave a comment below. Let me know, please, if this works for you. And if it does, great. Now, here are the core elements you want to look at. Emotional resonance, connecting on a feeling level. Notice I'm using that word a lot here. Audience intuition, that's what you're going to look at to sense what are the people needing right now. What do they need? Where are they hurting? Adaptive energy. You want to make sure that you're matching the tone to the platform. There's a way you operate on LinkedIn that is different than you do on TikTok and even on Facebook. So you want to be adaptive and sensitive to where you should be there. And then use AI augmentation for it, using technology as a tool. And use your authentic voice. Stay true to your style. Don't try to put on a podcast voice or something like that. No, just be you. Be the real you that's there. And with emotional intelligence, make sure you have that emotional resonance. Both of those, they really tie together there. Moving beyond information to create feeling-based connections that inspire action. This is how most everything gets done in the world anyway. We just need to recognize that and embrace it. So here's an element for you. Audience intuition, developing a sixth sense for, and you might want to take a note on this, what your audience needs right now. And the emotional state they're in. That's key. If you try to present one kind of message and they're in a different state, you're going to miss them completely. I've seen that so many times in presenting. The energy that we will resonate most. This is what we have to have a sixth sense to detect at that moment. And the pacing that feels right. How do we do it right now at this point? So here is some of the capabilities of AI augmentation. AI is going to handle certain things like the grammar and spelling, the format adaptation, the content repurposing. It's good at that. Real handy. You tap into it for that. And I love the research assistance I get from ChatGPT, their research model, from Perplexity, looking at the deep research it has, and their Perplexity labs. Lots of good information there. And then the human controls. Now, this is where you and I come in, human beings. We're going to have the emotional tone. AI just can't do that as well. And the strategic direction. We know, go this way or go that way, changing it and turning it around. And using value judgments. We can say, this is not quite right. Or, hey, I think we need to go this way. That is very important for what we're doing. And use your authentic voice. So with your authentic voice, you're being real all the way through. And here's another element. Using that authentic voice, maintain your unique personality and perspective while leveraging technology to amplify your reach. your reach. So you be you. Let the technology do what it's going to do. Let AI do its thing best. And then implement vibe communicating. Practice that feedback loop, working with others and finding out what they are doing. You create by drafting content with AI assistance, not with AI doing it, not with a copy and paste, but as I often say, you want to copy, paste, and then customize. Customize it for them. And with a vibe check, assess the emotional resonance. Find out what they're doing, find out what's going on, and adjust it by refining your energy and your tone based on where they are. And then you ship it. Publish and observe the response that's there. See what people are saying and how they do it. With a case study, for instance, a keynote speaker can use this. The challenge is creating a consistent impact across different audience sizes. When you're speaking to, say, a small group of 10, 15, 20 people versus a few thousand. I've done both, and even more than that, and even less than that. And so you've got to adapt and change all the time. Vibe communicating solution to that, develop core emotional arcs that could be adapted to different contexts using AI to handle the research and slide creation. It's real good at that. I'm using Gamma for this one along with eCam. Those two tools help me to present this in an automated way that helps me deliver it better than if I were just standing here talking to you or reading it from a piece of paper. This is real important while you focus on the personal energy, the delivery, and the connection. Most important. And here's another case study for a content creator. The challenge was maintaining consistent output across multiple platforms without burnout or losing authenticity. So how do you do that? Well, with vibe communication, when you're using vibe communicating, your solution is you create it once, repurposed intelligently with AI while ensuring each platform version is maintained with the right emotional energy of that context. So again, LinkedIn is going to be different than YouTube. YouTube is going to be different than any other thing that we're doing, like Instagram. All of those have their different flavor, so you customize it to that. So the common pitfalls you want to avoid: automation. There we go. You know, eventually we're going to get this right. Automation. I'm just going to leave this in here. Automation. You put it in there. Avoid that over automation when you see it. Yes. And let AI handle too much, losing the human touch that creates connection. Not something you want to do. You want to stay away from the vibe mimicry, trying to copy someone else's energy instead of amplifying your own authentic style. Inconsistency. Stay away from that. Challenging your energy and changing your energy, challenging it too, and changing it so drastically between platforms that your brand feels fragmented. And metrics obsession, focusing so much on analytics that you lose the emotional core of your message. This is something you want to avoid, all of these pitfalls. And so here's your first step to get started, a plan of action that you can put together. Audit your current communication. Identify where your authentic energy comes through strongest. Notice where it is. A good way to do this, by the way, is something that is very painful. I recommend that you do something that hurts a lot. It's called watch your own videos. Yes, ow, it hurts when you're looking at it, you're going, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I said that word wrong. I'm going to have a bunch of those kind of fun things on this one. I'm going to leave this in here so you can see this is all part of being real. But being authentic is most important. Monitor what you've done and go back and watch your videos. That is most important. And then in addition to that, what you want to do is you want to also make sure you define your vibe signature. Name the emotional qualities that make your communication distinctive. Why do we want to use you over your competitor? Make sure that you are distinctive and create the AI collaboration guidelines. Develop prompts that maintain your vibe while leveraging AI efficiency. Make sure you use the best of both there. And then test and refine it. Gather feedback on emotional resonance and adjust accordingly. As a matter of fact, love to hear from you on that. Let me know, what do you think of this? Was it good? What did you like? And what could be improved next time? Your feedback really makes all the difference in the world, and we appreciate that. The final thoughts here: vibe communicating revolution is happening right now. In a world of increasing AI capabilities, your unique human vibe becomes, hey, your greatest differentiator. Vibe communication. You're hearing it here first. For vibe communicating is what I recommend. My term. And so if you want to quote me on that, that's fine with me. You have my permission. But you want to make sure that you have the vibe communication down. And vibe communication isn't rejecting technology, not at all. It's about using the AI strategically, while keeping the human elements that create true connection. That's the key. And I want to thank you very much for joining me here. Vibe communicating is the intentional practice of crafting and delivering any message so its emotional energy feels right. That's important. Feels right to the audience. Blending AI efficiency with human intuition to spark genuine connection and action. That's the key. And to help you out on that, I've got that free gift for you. You want to look into this. This is something that can give you and your people a comprehensive update on tools that are available within AI. And we are updating this regularly so that as it changes, you go back and get it. It's on a Google Doc, by the way, so then it can be updated quickly and you get it. Unlike in the past where you send out paper and physical means, a book or something. Now you get this and it can be updated quickly and very easily. So it's something that you'll want to do and tap into. This is what we're talking about with vibe communicating. Getting out there, using the human side and using the AI. Please let us know what you think. We'd love to have you like and subscribe and share this, because that then lets the entrepreneurs that are out there that you like it know what's going on. And it also lets those AI bots know, hey, people like to know about emotional intelligence, vibe communicating, staying in touch with us. And you can bounce over to Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, where we help people to learn how to build their business in a real way. So if you haven't done it already, make sure you scan the QR code, bounce over to AI Tools 4, the number 4, biz.com, and you'll get that course to help you on this and be able to do a lot. Vibe communicating is the way to make sure that you stand out using the best of technology and the best of human caring and connections. And to talk about that even more, I've got a special something for you right over here. This video shows you how to connect and use the emotions of our human nature and tie it in with technology. It's not either or, it's both and. I'm Terry Brock. Thank you very much for joining us today.